Welcome to another edition of Litter Media Live for this Wednesday. It's August 7th of 2024. I'm Dan Ramey. He's Mike Smith, and our special reporter for the Ross County Fair this year, Mr. Hand 2, is off to our side, Aaron Glandon. Maybe you saw him out at the fair last night, scrambling for calves.
I did not do that.
You didn't do that?
I've always wanted to try that.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you watch it and you're like, well, that doesn't look too hard. But
until
you're
it 5 seconds in, and it's like, what have I done?
Yeah. It would definitely be exhausting.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got some footage of that for us today.
Yes.
Right? Okay, so that's all just ahead here in just a bit. Also coming up, a look at sports and this date in history. So stick with us. But first, is it still hot?
It's actually going to cool down for us a little bit. Cloudy skies for this day, which is Wednesday, a high of 84. Partly sunny for Thursday, 88. But then Friday, partly sunny and 83. Here's where the cool down really comes in. This weekend, daytime highs of 77 and an overnight low of 55. Sunday night when we were out at the fair for the Queen and Kings pageant, one of the junior fair board members, they were selling some kind of a sweater or something. He says, now I know tonight you would not want to wear that, but he said later this week we're talking about overnight lows in the 50s.
Yeah, when you want to watch the demolition derby and the fireworks, it'll be cool.
So you might need that sweater this weekend out
People
there.
wearing their jackets and everything. So I got into the car after working yesterday and turned the key, and the thermometer came on. It was 106 on my dashboard.
Man.
I'm like, is that the outdoor temperature or just indoor? It was hot. So, all right, coming up in a moment, so we'll get you caught up to date with news. But first, let's tell you about Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. If it's 106 degrees in your house, you need an air conditioner. Trust your comfort advisor, and we're talking about Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Click on this ad anywhere you find it on our website, which is littermedia.com, and it takes you right to their website, accuratehvac.com. They were big in the apple pie auction last night at the Ross County Fair, so thank you for supporting our kids and 4-H as well. Thank you, Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Now that's one fast mower. Take command of your lawn with Dixie Chopper, the world's fastest lawnmower.
Find a career you love with Pickaway Ross Adult Education. Skilled trades careers are in high demand with no signs of slowing down. Pickaway Ross offers career training programs with expert instructors and hands-on learning tactics to create a variety of opportunities. Visit our website for more information.
This is Andy Tomlinson. When ensuring what's important to you, our agents are there when you need us the most. Tomlinson Insurance, for the best coverage at the best cost. Visit us online at tomlinsonins.com to learn more.
1 month ago today, I suffered my sciatic nerve attack. These guys have got me walking around again. Haynes Total Health Care Center. Chiropractic, physical therapy, and nutritional needs as well. They can help you. They'll get you straightened up and sitting upright and walking upright as well. If you want to find out more about the services of Haynes, you'll see them at the Ross County Fair this week. They're in the commercial building. But also, make sure you click on this ad anywhere you see it at littermedia.com, and it takes you to hayneshealth.com. And while you're at our website, take a look at the news stories, things that are making news. Look, it's Santa in July. Ho, ho, ho. We've got a whole lot of things that we share with you on our website, but also on our social media here on Facebook, as well as our YouTube channel and on Litter Media X, formerly Twitter. We start with the Ross County Fair. Look at that Ferris wheel.
Look at the Ferris wheel. And I took this picture from the top of the Ferris wheel
Did you?
because I wanted to ride it last night.
All right.
And
These
here
are
he
some
is
clips from the calf
scrambling with
scramble.
the calf.
There's your outhouse race winners, the Hallsville Friendly Neighbors of 2020. Did that say 2023 on it?
It did. It must have borrowed it from last year.
They must have. And these cows, they know what you're doing when you're doing the calf scramble, and they don't want to follow you.
Kicking up dust on the track.
Yes.
Shark Wars.
They were dressed in Jedi robes and costumes. They were the runners-up in the outhouse race.
I tell you, one of my favorite things to do at the fair on Junior Fair Night is to walk through and look at all the names they have on those outhouses. They're hilarious.
There was one that it was painted like Lightning McQueen, and it said Lightning McStream on it. And then on the side it said, "You did what in your cup?" Because the name of the trophy in cars is the Piston Cup.
Yes. So you wrangle a calf, and then you get to have that calf for the whole year, and then you bring it back to the fair, right?
Yes, you do. And hopefully you have the grand champion.
Very cool. Now, of course, with Junior Fair Night, they also have an apple pie auction as well, right? And so one of the guys who has been a big supporter of 4-H, but also donating a lot of the apples used for these apple pies over the years, has been Hirsch Fruit Farm. And, of course, we lost Frank Hirsch last year due to passing. But, man, you could never go to the fair and not see Frank on 4-H night. And there you see his oldest son, Steve, along with his darling bride, Judy. And they won the big pie last night. Congratulations. And thank you to Nancy Jones for allowing us to share those photos. Now,
Fair activities continue.
yes, judging schedule is already underway. Swine Showmanship and Market Rabbit Show coming up at 12 p.m. today. Flower show activities, and this brings us back to 30 years ago this week, Mike. We met Gertrude Beeler, who wanted to know, who is this Mike Smith?
Wow, 30 years.
Maybe we can talk about that a little bit later on in the show here today. But market lamb, sheep, breeding, all that showmanship taking place at 3 o'clock today. Market beef at 8 o'clock tonight. And tomorrow they have market turkey show, beef breeding and beef showmanship, poultry open class, and the small animal showman of showmen takes place all in the morning. And then they have the horses open class at 11. And the county bred, I spelled bread wrong, county bred, born and raised goat show.
It's a new contest. Yeah.
And if you want to see rodeo, that's tomorrow night at the Ross County Fair. But the livestock sales get underway tomorrow, 6 p.m. for hogs, and Friday at 6 for lambs, goats, dairy, and beef. And Saturday, can't see it for the camera. And then Saturday, the chickens, turkey, and what else is rabbits? Rabbit season comes Saturday. So make sure you get out to the Ross County Fair.
Which goes through Saturday night.
It does.
For the second time in recent months, we've lost a former cast and crew member of the outdoor drama Tecumseh due to passing. This time, Jim Combs. Jim was a dedicated alumni of the drama and for many years was a speech coach in Lexington, Kentucky. As you might remember, we told you on this program that former cast member Steve Stevenson passed away earlier this year. So we wish Jim Combs' family our thoughts and prayers as he recently passed away.
Last week, we lost Taria Maynard, a single car accident in the Canal-Winchester area. We first met her in this interview that we did promoting the Chillicothe Civic Theater's production of White Christmas back in, I think it was 2018, might have been 2019. She was very active in the Chillicothe Civic Theater, but was also a contributor to our friends at the Scioto Post. Maynard will be remembered this afternoon from 2 to 4 and again 6 to 8 p.m. at Roundtown Players on the second floor up in Circleville. The family is also accepting donations to cover funeral expenses over Venmo under the username @4Taria. And you spell her name Tahrea. Vibrant person. She was a barrel of fun to talk to, and a Taze Valley graduate as well.
You know, when we did this interview, what we were doing earlier that day?
Was that the day we were at the State House?
Yes, and interviewed Mark Johnson. And
yeah.
Took a tour of the State House, so that was kind of a neat thing. I ran into Mark and his lovely bride here not too many months back, and we were recalling that, and she said, well, you need to come back up and do that again. So we need to make another field trip here.
You know, she's a Portsmouth girl, and it'd be cool to maybe have her take us into some of the Scioto County stuff. From what I understand, the Scioto County Courthouse is
beautiful,
immaculate inside. I've never been inside it, but she was a part of the Martings family. Remember Martings department store?
Yes, sir.
Missy got her wedding dress at Martings. And so this past weekend, Kelly had taken a tour with the family. Her family is a part of the Martings, and she said, anytime you want to go through, I've got connections.
That'd be neat.
So they still have a lot of things set up, like the soda area. What do you call that? The sandwich bar, soda fountain, soda jerk, all that kind of stuff. All that was taking place back in the good old days of downtown Portsmouth.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
A big metropolis at one time.
Camp Cattail is going to host their annual outdoor jam concert coming up on August 17th. Gates will open at 4 p.m. Music starts at 6. The Keys and Fork in the Road. I don't know how many years Fork in the Road's been playing. It's been a long time. Proceeds benefit the camp upkeep, and we used to have these folks come in on the radio station with our show, and I think they've been in here a time or two as well. Maybe we can connect with them and have them in to talk a little bit more about the 26th Annual Outdoor Jam.
Now, I put this poster up on our social media last night, and a lady asked, where is it? It's right there on the poster, Camp Cattail, which is located at 322 Cattail Road. Hey, do you need a car seat for your child? Well, if you do, sign up for the next Ohio Buckles Buckeyes car seat class on August 22nd and receive a free car seat.
Go Buckles.
Yes, sir. Call Ross County Health District's Amy Unger at 779-9652, extension 2241 for more info and to sign up today.
The Ohio Department of Education and Workforce has announced the award of $332,960 in Grow Ohio grants to support local programs providing agricultural education opportunities for children in 14 communities across the state. Portsmouth West High School, which you see here, will receive almost $24,000 in state funds to develop a plant positivity program centered on accessible indoor and outdoor growing activities led by students.
Our road report, we've got a couple of items to talk about today. First of all, over in Athens, and a lot of people travel over there because of Ohio University, resurfacing project on US 50 between Della Drive and River Road is seeing lane closures in both directions. Additionally, there will be a periodic closure of the ramps from East State Street to US 50 and from 50 to East State. Traffic will be maintained by flaggers. They believe that project will be done August 15th. Now, a second note, Superload 15. This is the last of what they're calling the mega superloads. It's coming up through southern Scioto County today. It's supposed to stop at, I believe they call it Coleman's Nursery. It'll get up to the Highway ODOT garage at Lucasville, which is next to the Scioto County Fairgrounds tomorrow. And then they'll park it near the Ross County Fairgrounds Friday, sometime between 1 and 3 p.m.
You know, when we had Matt Bruning in here earlier this year talking about these superloads coming through, he said they were doing everything they could to avoid festivals and county fairs and that sort of thing. And then here it's right in the smack dab in the Ross and Scioto County fairs, which are going on at the same time.
But they wanted, most importantly, to get it done before school bus routes.
Yeah.
And something's got to give on that because school's going to start for some schools next week.
You just have to be patient.
Yeah.
Because remember, these things are going to be very important in making those Intel processor pieces.
Right.
So.
And that means a lot of jobs and a lot of money.
So you've got this mega super load coming through, all to make these little teeny tiny things that you'll not even be able to you'll probably have to have tweezers to look at in a microscope. All right, coming up in a moment, we'll take a look at sports. We've got some good news for you, so share details on that coming up. But first, let's tell you about Scioto Valley dumpsters. Have you seen them at the fairgrounds? You most likely will. They are out keeping the fairgrounds clean. Scioto Valley Dumpsters. If you've got an issue with maybe you're working on something in your home or your business and you need a dumpster, give Scioto Valley Dumpsters a call, 740-253, that's 253-8389 for Scioto Valley Dumpsters.
Our mobile banking app is changing the way we bank. Things are getting easier, transactions are getting safer, and you have access 24/7. All the functionality of banking you're used to, made easier to use, anywhere, anytime, and more secure than ever. Simple, seamless, safe. Download our Kingston National Bank mobility app today.
Whenever I first applied for the Archways opportunity, do I have to pay this back? Do I have to do that? Like, is it a loan? And it's not. It's a scholarship. A goal of mine is to graduate college debt-free. If you're a crew member, you get $2,500 a year, and if you're a manager, you get $3,000. And especially if you're going locally to college, like to the branch or something like that, it's really helpful.
I'm a busy woman, and I'm not ready to slow down.
Tiffany's hip pain was interfering with her career and active lifestyle until she came to the Adina Orthopedic and Spine Institute.
Dr. Meshbach told me about same-day surgery. I said, I want it now, and I wanted it yesterday.
After a successful procedure, Tiffany was home the very same day and on her way back to enjoying the community she calls home. At Adina, we do what we love, so you can too.
Just ahead, this date in history. But first, sports.
Yeah, the high school sports season is underway for golf in our area. And yesterday, the Jackson Ironmen opened the 2024 FAC Boys Golf season with back-to-back victories, winning match 1 with a 166, then used a best fifth score tiebreaker to take match 2 with a 165. Now, Chillicothe was second in both of those matches. Will Miller of Washington was match 1 medalist, and Jackson Oyer of Chillicothe was the match 2 medalist.
Jackson's been tough for a long time. Chillicothe is getting better.
Chile is the defending FAC champ.
Yes. Yeah. But Jackson, over the last 10 years or so, they've been really tough to battle. University of Rio Grande is one of the 209 NAIA institutions to be named champions of character 5-star award winners for 2023-24. Didn't Ohio Christian University get this as well?
It was a different award from the RSC.
Gotcha. Rio Grande, which has been honored in every year except 2021 and 2021 since the program began in the year 2000, was a Silver Award recipient. Congratulations to the Red Storm.
Yes, sir. And you have some baseball news.
Illinois Valley Pistol Shrimp. You know who they are. And they have suffered a blow or two from the Chillicothe Paints in the last couple of years. Well, now they're 1 win away from the Prospect League Championship following a 13-8 win over the Rex. Speaking of Rex baseball from Terre Haute, Indiana. Game 2 of the best-of-3 series is tonight at Schweikert Stadium.
Now, is that the home of the Shrimp or the Rex?
I do not know.
Because what I was looking at, it just said Schweikert Stadium. It didn't say where.
I'm going to guess, I believe the Shrimp had a better record, so they probably got to host games 2 and 3 if necessary.
Gotcha.
So I have a feeling it's probably in Illinois.
All right. On the big league circuit, the Reds won their second straight in Miami, beating the Marlins last night 8-2.
De La Cruz, what's going on with him?
Yeah, he's on a tear.
What is he, 9 of 10?
Yeah, but this kid here, that's not L.A. This kid here had a big night too.
Yeah, Marte.
Yeah, he was out the first half of the season, and
missed the first 80 games.
He struggled with his batting average, but hopefully he's finally getting it on. But this is a 4-game series, so Game 3 of that 4-game set in Miami is tonight. Also, the Guardians and Diamondbacks game yesterday was rained out, so they're going to play it today as a traditional doubleheader, means one right after the other. They'll take like a half-hour break and get that Game 2 on for today. Speaking of Cleveland, I thought I heard coming back from Chillicothe last night that the Haslam family is talking about building a domed stadium for the Browns. Have you heard that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
$3 billion?
That's been in discussion probably the last 6 months or so, maybe close to a year.
$3.5 billion.
There's been a lot of concern because while the team would like to stay on the lakefront, they also would like to be able to have a dome. And if they put a dome stadium, they're talking Brook Park, which is down along I-71. And I think that's south of Cleveland. But for everybody that's a traditionalist, they'd like to stay by the lake where they've been all those years. But in order to do that, they would have to totally level that stadium and then spend time building that. And it takes, 2.5, 3 years to build a structure like that of some sort. So it's kind of a difficult thing. You build a dome, you can host a Super Bowl at some point in time. And that they won't have a Super Bowl. Well, I should probably correct myself. Didn't they have
Detroit
at MetLife Stadium? They had the Super Bowl one year?
But it was unusually warm. Of course, they didn't know that was going to happen when they planned it.
You were taking your chance.
But I think there was a snowstorm that moved in the next day, so they did get the game in. But this would be, I think I heard, a 30-year tax levy. Yeah. So it's not the Haslam family just shelling out $3.5 billion.
Yeah,
they'd have to have a lot of community help.
And it's my understanding it's the same with the renovation of the existing Cleveland Browns Stadium. So the main thing is to keep the Browns in Cleveland. You don't want to see them leave again.
Right.
That's still a fresh and open wound amongst many. And I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be back behind this and make it actually happen.
Well, I remember when they built the new Yankee Stadium and the new home of the Mets. Both of those cost over $1 million or $1.5 billion, and they were talking about how outrageous that is. And now this one in Cleveland, $3.5 billion.
Well, the one they built out in Los Angeles for the Chargers, that thing is, I think it was like $2.4 billion. The same with down in Atlanta, so.
Yeah.
Money's money. What's money anymore, right?
Not what it used to be worth.
Who lives by a budget?
Not what it used to be worth, that's for sure.
All right, this date in history, the Litter Media Wayback Machine is dialed up for?
1974, something acrobatic that really would take your breath away to watch it. And I remember when this happened.
Okay. That is just ahead. But first,
we talk a lot about litter quality propane, and maybe you are a customer. But did you know that you can have custom tank color and wraps put on your propane tank? Well, you sure can. Find out how a propane tank can be beautiful at litterpropane.com.
For transportation options in Ross County, call Ross County Health District's Mobility Management Team, 740-779-9652. Each week, Litter Media presents the Neil Coleman Insurance Wyandotte Mutual Player of the Week. If you have an athlete to nominate, any amateur athlete is eligible. Simply visit littermedia.com and click on Player of the Week. At the end of the year, we'll announce the Player of the Year. Make your nominations now at littermedia.com. Click on Player of the Week. Are you looking for a beer that satisfies your thirst and love of country? Armed Forces Brewing Company brews beer for patriots. Celebrate freedom with every sip. Armed Forces Brewing Company. Freedom never tasted so good. Discover Ross County. From the breathtaking outdoor adventures to the historic sights of Chillicothe and family-friendly events and festivals. Explore more at visitchillicotheohio.com or download the free mobile app today. This date in history, we go back to 1974.
High above the early morning traffic in lower Manhattan, a French street performer steps off the roof of the South Tower of the World Trade Center,
Philippe Petit,
clad in black and carrying a long pole for balance. Philippe Petit begins the most famous high wire walk in history, calmly traversing the space between the Twin Towers at a height of 1,350 feet.
Remember the morning we had him on the air?
I do.
Yeah. There was a book that was put out, and we booked him to talk about it on our show. And it's interesting to hear the behind-the-scenes stuff that took place. And then, of course, they were turning that into a movie as well. Mm-hmm. And to see it on the big screen was pretty interesting. All the behind-the-scenes stuff they did to make that happen. Yeah. And then, can you imagine the chaos?
Oh, goodness. And you couldn't do it on a windy day.
No.
Not unless you wanted to.
But, even on the most calm of days.
Oh, it has to be.
It had to be windy up there.
Yeah. So. You remember the Walenda family?
Yeah.
They were big at doing, I don't know that they ever went across the Twin Towers. But
I think they did Niagara Falls, didn't they? One of them?
Well, that started back in the 1800s, and I remember Billy Graham telling a story about that. Yeah. They stretched this tightrope out across the canyon there, and the guy not only walked across it, but he had one of his troop that got in a wheelbarrow, and he pushed him across the tight wire. And the crowd was going wild, and the performer said, "Do you think we can do it again?" And everybody roared. And then he asked one of the spectators,
"What about
lady,
you, sir?
Would you like to try?" And they ran for the hills. So the message was about faith. Yeah. How much faith you have in something or somebody, and that was kind of an interesting. That person was
nowhere to be found.
Nowhere to be found.
It was their opportunity. We talked a moment ago, about 30 years ago, Gertrude Beeler. I don't know that we have talked to Clay Beeler, to Sam Beeler, but I've never asked them if they were any relation to Gertrude Beeler. But for those of you that do not know the story, back when I first joined Mike at WBEX was May of 1994. So that first week of the Ross County Fair, I was told we were having this midway, what they call it, midway radio program or whatever. Uh-huh. And we talked about things during the afternoon. So I was collecting all kinds of things and then producing it and then showing it on the radio that afternoon, live from the fair. And so while we were going through, we were asking people about who's the most trusted name in news. Mike Smith. And they would go in, they would tell me things about Mike Smith. So this became a running bit for the whole week. And so after the flower show was done, I was talking with the grand champion and the runner-up. And Gertrude Beeler was running the flowers show at the time. And so we did this interview with him, and I asked him, I said, we've been talking about Mike Smith this week, and can you tell me anything about, yeah, he likes white milk with his chocolate chip cookies and so on and so forth. And the other person, she jumps in and starts talking about Mike Smith. And Gertrude looks at me and she goes, "Who is this Mike Smith?"
Oh, yeah.
Just when you think everybody knows, there's always somebody that doesn't know.
It's funny. I was at church a few weeks ago, and one of the gals that she's probably in her 30s or early 40s now, she, of course, knew Dan and Mike, and she's trying to explain to her 20-something daughter who I am, and it's like the girl's got this blank look on her face, like, I have no idea who this guy is, and it's like a generational thing.
What's a radio?
Yeah, what's a radio? What's a telephone? Yeah.
Speaking of radio, Litter Media Radio is alive and well on our website. Just go to littermedia.com, click on that. You'll be able to hear some of the interviews. You'll be able to hear this show later today. But you can find us on Spotify and more, all thanks to the very capable hands of one Mr. Hand 2. There he is. That's his cue. Aaron Landon. So if you going back out to the fair today?
I intend to.
Okay. So
Did you get any fair food while you were there yesterday?
I got a deep fried Milky Way.
Ooh. Oh my gosh.
It was delicious.
That don't even sound right.
It was delicious.
So even though it's deep fried, does the candy bar keep its...
It's melty.
So it doesn't stay in its form as a candy bar. It
looks like a corn dog with powdered sugar on it when it's done.
Okay.
because they put it on a stick. Mm-hmm. A lot of people go crazy over deep fried Oreos, but then they've never had a deep fried Milky Way, and I think the Milky Ways are much, much better.
Some of the kids that play on Laura's volleyball team they rave about the cheese stick.
Cheese stick is good.
Mm-hmm. Is that just?
It's just fried cheese on a stick.
On a stick.
Yeah.
How do you keep it from running down the stick?
Because it's breaded.
Okay, it's got something to keep consistency together. Okay.
I learned about the fried Oreos. I've never had one, but Saturday I was taking Gary and Josh Richmond. They're two of my Sunday school students who are leaving today. They're on a plane headed to Paris Island in South Carolina to report to boot camp. But so took them out for dinner, and Gary he's a cook. I mean, he may be a chef one day for all I know. He was talking about how they make these deep fried Oreo cookies. And I'm like, how do you do it? And he says, well, you make some pancake batter and you just slather it in that and you drop it in some deep fried oil. And next thing you know, you've got bliss on a stick. And I'm like, wow.
I like Oreos, but I can't picture. Oh, by the way, when I went out to speak to the Zane Trace FFA, I don't think I mentioned this. They gave me a bottle of maple syrup.
Yeah, that they collect there.
And they make it themselves. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we haven't, Jennifer and the class, if you're listening in, we haven't gotten into it yet. We haven't had pancakes yet, but I promise I'll give a report on that when we get that.
Yeah, when I've been out to talk with the kids a time or two, one day that I was there to interview the kids, I thought Jennifer was going to be there. Well, she wasn't. She was out tapping the trees. Yeah. Collecting syrup because they were going to be making syrup that day. And they usually do that in February as they prepare for the breakfast. So, and that I think is the collection time for maple syrup.
Is syrup like wine? The older it is, the better it gets?
That I can't say.
I'm not a maple syrup aficionado, so I don't know.
As long as it's sweet and sticky, it works for me.
Okay.
What a way to end the show.
Yeah, really.
All right, that's it for the program today. Back at it again tomorrow with another edition here on Litter Media Live.